Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we're making an apron. If you want to see how we made this apron, stay tuned because we're going to show you how. Okay, first in making this apron you want to make sure that you select a nice fabric. Here we have a nice pinstripe and it's 100% cotton. So because it's a directional type fabric, we open up the pattern and we're just going to cut out this piece right here because we have a big bolt of fabric. We're going to move that out the way. Now we're laying out the pattern open and we're going to find the center of the pattern, as you can see here. We're going to place that on one of the stripes. We're going to put some weight on the pattern and then we're going to mark it out. And now we're going to cut it out. After you cut out the main body, it's just a good practice to put a small mark, maybe at the bottom, so you can identify the difference between the good side of the fabric and the wrong side. So here we've already cut out our main body, our pockets. Now we're going to cut out our straps. Need one strap for the neck and 2 straps for the ties. A total of 3 straps. And I should mark on the pattern, which is something that I didn't do. But we can correct that now. So for this apron, I'm going to write on the pattern, cut 3 straps. No matter how long you've been doing this stuff, you're always learning. You always learn something new. And the dimensions for the straps are 2 3/4 inches wide by 40 to 44 inches long. This apron is unisex, so we have a one size fit all. Of course you can modify the pattern to make it bigger or larger or shorter or longer. We need 3 straps. 2 are for the waist and 1 is for an adjustable neck strap. Now it's time to get busy. Let's sew it up. Edge stitch along the edge, 1/8 of an inch. And here you can see I'm using a Teflon foot that has a gauge. Makes the job much more professional and much easier. So good practice to make sure at the start and end of every seam or stitching that you secure it with a good back tack. Very important. This here is the bottom of the apron. We're folding that over. Here, this is a little bit more than a 1/4 inch. We actually press this a 1/2 inch. So a total of 1 inch. It's a double fold. But it can certainly be a 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, really up to you. As long as it's even and clean. As you can see, this gauge foot is beautiful. Works very well. So now that we have our sides and bottoms completed, now we're going to do the straps. So one side of the strap we fold in about a 1/4 inch, and the other side of the strap we fold in roughly 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And then we're simply going to fold the 1/4 inch over to overlap the other side. We're going to fold that and stitch right down the middle, right down the center, 1/8 inch seam allowance. Your finished strap will finish 1 inch. Now we're simply going to double fold the ends of the strap, 3/8 to a 1/2 inch, and we're going to edge stitch, securing the ends. Back tack well. Now we're going to take our pocket, and this is the lower pocket. We're going to place that on, find a placement, pin it, and then we're going to edge stitch the pocket to the apron using our gauge foot, 1/8 of an inch, all the way around. Here, do your best when pinning to line up the stripes as best as possible. Again, this is one of those moments that you want to take your time to get it as accurate as possible. If you don't want to go this direction, cut the grain in the opposite direction. Your choice. In this case, we decided to go with the same grain as the apron. When you come to the corner, make sure you hit the corner, lift the needle up slightly, pivot, and continue sewing. That'll get you a nice, beautiful corner every time. And again, back tack well at the top. beginning and end of every seam. Here we're changing out our foot. We're going to substitute it for a similar foot. And this foot is a 1/4 inch gauge foot. You can use a compensating foot or a gauge foot, either one. And what we're going to do, we're going to sew it all the way around. And this will give us a double stitch. So one stitch will be 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and the other 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Again, give you a double stitch all the way around. Mostly decorative. Using the gauge foot helps tremendously with accomplishing this task, as you can see here. If you like what you're seeing, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel and join our community. Nice. Right here, you want to find the center of the apron. And on one side of the center point, 1/4 inch away. So straight down the center. And this right here will help us create 2 pockets. Then a 1/4 inch on the other side. And do it again. Later, we will be adding rivets to the ends of the pockets and the center point, just to reinforce the pocket even more and for a decorative look. Here, we took one of our straps and we cut it approximately 6 inches. So 5 to 6 inches. You can cut that. Add your D-ring. At this point, from the finished edge, from the folded edge on each side, we're marking a 1/2 inch from that folded edge on each side for the strap placement. We're stay stitching the strap to the top edge of the apron. Now we're going to take the remainder end of that strap, place it at the edge of the mark, and stay stitch to the top of the apron. Next, we're taking our top facing. We press the bottom part 1/4 inch, and here we're going to sew a 3/8 to a 1/2 inch seam allowance, attaching the top facing to the top of the apron. Right there, we're just straightening out the strap, making it parallel. Now we're going to fold and roll that seam. After we roll the seam, we're going to edge stitch 1/8 of an inch straight across the top of the apron, locking those straps in place. Take your time here to roll that seam. Get it as even as possible so you can have a nice, clean, finished look. Now we're going to stitch down the bottom portion of our facing with the bottom folded back a 1/4 inch. You're going to edge stitch the bottom part of the facing to the apron 1/8 of an inch straight across. Okay, so here you want to make sure that with the armholes that you do a double fold starting at the top of the armhole, 1/4 inch double fold. Press that, fold it back, and then you're going to taper it all the way down to the end 1 inch or 1 1/8 of an inch. At the bottom, you want it to be wide enough so you can insert your strap, as you can see here. And then edge stitch that entire armhole 1/8 of an inch. You can see how important the gauge for this. Almost all of our work so far has been used with the gauge 1/8 of an inch. Here we're going to reinforce and lock that strap in place with a box stitch. And the box stitch is optional. We're going with 3/4 to 1 inch in order to lock that strap in place, as you can see here. This here is the top pocket, and we pressed the bottom edge 1/4 of an inch, forming a point at the bottom. And the top, we're going to double fold 1/4 inch, and we're going to press that in place. We're also going to fold in both sides of the pocket and press. Nice and clean, crisp. Nice. Next, we're going to edge stitch the bottom edge of the hem of that pocket. With a 1/8 inch edge stitch. Now we're going to place our top pocket onto our apron. Find your placement. Make sure you have equal distance from the top. And because this is a directional fabric, you want to just make sure, to the best of your ability, you line up the stripes as best as possible and pin it to the fabric. And of course, the next step is to sew it on. And a lot of this here is in the cutting. So when you're cutting, if you cut everything out correct, everything will line up pretty much on point. Here I'm reinforcing the corner with a triangular or diagonal stitch. Then we're going to edge stitch the pocket onto the apron with a 1/8 inch seam allowance. And here, we're just using a regular pressure foot, but you could use the gauge foot also. It's up to you. Back tack well at the end, and again reinforce the corners. And likewise, later, the top pocket as well as the bottom pocket will be reinforcing the corners with rivets. Okay, now we're going to use our slider hardware to finish off the neck strap. Take your time here, this is always tricky, and one of my favorite parts. Trim the ends, double fold it back, the ends, 3/8 to a 1/2 inch, and then edge stitch 1/8 of an inch, finishing off the strap. If you like what you're seeing, give us a like, comment below. Here you can see we did add our rivets to reinforce the corners. We added our logo with rivets. This is a unisex apron. And here's our middle model. And thanks for watching. Until the next time, take care.